Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. In a push for faster payments, Mastercard has bought out NetsUnit, and it's a massive acquisition, $3.19 billion. Now, this deal does not include Ripple, but I want to explain to you why this is important for Ripple and XRP. So I'll be diving fairly deep into conceptually why this matters in this particular video. That's almost exclusively what I'll be talking about on this video. I will close out the video, however, by covering a piece from Cointelegraph, and it's about Mike Novogratz's firm, Galaxy Digital. They're investing into a digital asset lending company, and I found that fascinating. But before we get going, if you would please delicately tap that like button, and if you are a fan of Ripple and XRP, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. It's a good time here. All right, so the piece here, and it's from Bloomberg, titled Mastercard buys NetsUnit for $3.19 billion in largest deal. I actually got this from former Ripple employee Corey Johnson. So before I read any of this, I want to share with you Corey's tweet. And he wrote, "I know the XRP community is focused on the impact of Facebook's Libra, but this Mastercard deal could be even more important to Ripple's ecosystem. If nothing else, it's validation that real-time payments is clearly the coming wave." And so as I read through a lot of this, and I will cover the Bloomberg piece first, it's pretty clear to me that the status quo in terms of payments and settlement will not stand. There's going to be a solution one way or another, and the only true global solution as it comes to cross-border payments in particular is the usage of XRP. But given that XRP is on-tap liquidity, could it be used for other types of applications involving payments? Well, that's what I'm going to get into with you. I've got also some tweets from XRP Research Center and Ripple employee Dilip Rao that's going to really flesh the concept out. Now, let me start by going through the Bloomberg piece first, then we'll get into why this matters to Ripple and XRP. Right? Mastercard Incorporated agreed to buy a payments platform owned by Denmark-based Nets for 2.85 billion euros, which is 3.19 billion US dollars, using its biggest ever acquisition to help extend a push into faster payments. With the purchase, Mastercard is getting an electronic billing platform and clearing and instant payment services, according to a statement Tuesday. The company said the purchase will hurt profit for as long as 2 years after it's completed, which is expected in the first half of 2020. Companies and governments around the world have been launching real-time payment systems to speed up the movement of money between consumers and businesses, kicking off a race among banks and payment networks to capture those flows. Real-time is real, and it's here and it keeps growing. Michael Maybach, Mastercard's chief product and innovation officer, said in an interview. What we found in Nets is it's a business that's deeply ingrained in some of the most innovative and vibrant payments markets in the world. Mastercard shares climbed... I don't need to read that part. Let me skip down a little further. On Monday, the Federal Reserve announced it will build its own real-time gross settlement system for payments in the United States after merchants, including Amazon.com and Walmart Incorporated, said such a move would help improve card payments in the United States. The Fed's system will compete directly with one built by the largest U.S. banks through an association called the Clearinghouse, which used Mastercard technology to build its network. So there you go, the federal government competing with the private sector. How lovely. Anyway, Mastercard has already spent $1.1 billion this year on acquisitions and strategic equity investments as the firm sought to push into new markets and develop additional forms of electronic payments. Robert Napoli, an analyst at William Blair & Co., said in a note to clients on Monday. Mastercard plans to expand the Nets business beyond their primary markets in the Nordics, Maybach said. The company will continue to look for acquisition opportunities in the real-time payment space, as well as in fraud detection and data analytics, he said. Earlier this year, Mastercard announced its purchase of Ethica, which helps merchants identify fraud, and Vise, a point-of-sale payment provider. The company also acquired Transactis, which helps with bill payments, and Transfast, a cross-border payments network. The company warned last week that expenses will rise more than analysts expected in the third quarter. All right, now let's jump here. So the thread I'm about to lead from Ripple employee Dilip Rao, and you're going to understand pretty much immediately why this matters. I got this thread from XRP Research Center, so I want to read what Dilip Rao had said, and then I want to share with you what XRP Research Center has to say on this exact topic. So here's a tweet from Dilip Rao, and this is from October 11th of 2018. But check this out, and again, after I read this, you'll understand exactly why this is relevant today. All right, so it's a string of 5 tweets. Dilip writes, to fund settlements, final delivery to beneficiary, the sending bank typically needs to have a pre-funded Nostro account at the receiving bank or a correspondent in the middle. Today, the sending bank has a day or 3 to deliver the funds they need to have in their Nostro based on the certainty of payments already processed. But in the world of faster payments, banks will need to forecast the funding required so they can ensure enough is available in advance of payments being processed. Forecasting in real time is much harder, and getting it wrong will mean unhappy clients or too much money literally left at the table. Enter XRP, stage left, for on-demand, instant funding, voila. Hashtag XRP the standard. And again, that's from Dilip Rao, Ripple employee. So, check this out. And this exactly explains why this concept is important. Even though there's no deal with relating to with Mastercard and Ripple and XRP, this will help you to understand conceptually why having on-tap liquidity is so important. The world is changing, and this technology is going to be adopted. So here's the thread from XRP Research Center here. As real-time cross-border payments are not a widely adopted thing as of today, banks don't have to rush to find their Nostro accounts abroad in order to have enough liquidity to process payments in the countries of destination as demanded. Instead, what banks do today is, number 1, process payments requested by customers. Number 2, delay the crediting of funds to beneficiary. And number 3, fund their Nostro accounts in the countries of destination, takes 1 to 3 days. Having the certainty of how much liquidity is needed. Number 4, credit the funds to the final beneficiary. However, the processing of cross-border payments in real time are really a game changer. Banks can no longer wait to have the certainty of how much liquidity is required in their destination country's Nostro accounts. With faster payments, banks are forced to make difficult forecasting processes to take accurate guesses on how much liquidity they need to fund in advance to their foreign Nostro accounts, so funds are already available at the moment in which payments are processed. That said, forecasting on real time is really complicated, and doing it wrong can be translated into leaving to much funds, excess liquidity, or dormant capital, if you may, in Nostro accounts when there is not enough demand for payments. So either that or unhappy customers. Neither outcome is desirable, of course. How do you avoid the need to rely on such forecasting processes? You guessed it, with on-demand liquidity. XRP allows banks, financial institutions, remittance companies to fund their Nostro accounts at the exact moment in which real-time cross-border payments are processed. This means that, and there's 3 bullet points here. Number 1, cross-border payments can really be processed in real time. 2, the funds can be credited to final beneficiary accounts in real time, which means happy customers, you wrote that in parentheses. And 3, financial institutions are able to maintain exactly the liquidity they need at their Nostros at all times. So, the acquisition of Nets by Mastercard, although not involved at all with Ripple, is a good sign for Ripple because it will push for faster cross-border payments and, hence, make more evident for financial institutions how much they need a mechanism for on-demand cross-border settlement. There you go. Could not be more clear, right? And so it's not just banks that are and remittance companies that are going to need on-demand liquidity. Businesses like Mastercard could use this too. And again, so I keep saying again and again, there is no deal with Mastercard. What other solution is there for on-tap liquidity? What else is there? You know, if you're talking about something that can be a global solution, it's got to be a digital asset. Humans have not devised plan for anything else. It has to be a digital asset. So XRP is perfectly positioned to be used in this capacity. Of course, there would need to be a layer of technology that would have to be written, software, in order to implement something like that if it's ever to happen. This is a potential solution, though, and I find this very fascinating. So I don't think that the Ripple will be the only company to take advantage of XRP and utilize it as on-tap liquidity. We'll see what down the road what other business entities do as well, but you can see why this is pertinent. The status quo will not last. It's going the way of the dodo, which is good. Real-time settlement is a thing. The technology exists, and it will be adopted. I don't know what the timeline looks like, but it is indeed coming. All right, on to the next piece here, and then I'm going to wrap up the video. This is from Cointelegraph, and it is titled, Novogratz' crypto bank Galaxy Digital invests in digital asset lender. Digital asset lender Drawbridge Lending, DBL, announced that it received funding from a cryptocurrency commercial bank, Galaxy Digital. Drawbridge announced in a press release published August 8th, which is today, that it received funding from Galaxy Digital, further strengthen DBL's fiat crypto lending and investing capabilities. Furthermore, the two firms reportedly plan to jointly develop a co-branded special purpose loan funding vehicle to provide structured financing against institutionally held crypto assets. Michael Novogratz, CEO and founder of Galaxy Digital, commented on the development. And here's a quote. The institutionalization of digital assets is still relatively nascent despite increasing momentum and interest from a number of respected firms and industry players. As we look to the future, we recognize the benefit of aligning ourselves with smart and innovative strategic partners who know how to effectively execute in the institutional space. The team at DBL fits the bill in this regard. And then the piece continues. Per the report, DBL is a licensed lender and is able to provide commercial loans in 49 states and Washington, is a registered commodity pool operator and commodity trading advisor with the National Futures Association. Christopher Ferraro, president of Galaxy Digital, is quoted in the release stating, investors are absolutely opening up to the idea that a new asset class is being formed. And that's a huge part of the reason I want to share this piece with you, because what do I keep saying? It's a new asset class, and it is on the verge of being adopted in a massive way. I don't know exactly what the timeline looks like, but I am highly confident that this asset class is never going away, and everybody's going to want exposure to it in some capacity. And that means that it will be a multi-trillion-dollar asset class one day. And then the piece ends by stating, as Cointelegraph reported earlier today, San Francisco-based crypto lender and DBL competitor Dharma has decided to pause new deposits and loans on its platform. So that's it for this video. Thanks so much for listening. I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo!